Hey friends, Chris Vandeviver here from Logic Pro Expert. Now today, Eli and I are both taking a stab at mastering a track using iZotope's Ozone 9. So neither one of us have talked about how we've approached mastering this track, taking our own unique stab at this and seeing what happens. And so I'm pretty excited about that. We have a song that I enjoy quite a bit. I think Eli did a great job, right out of the gate. I really appreciate and enjoy the tonal balance, the song, everything. Let's just take a quick listen to the chorus here.
You left me with a heavy heart. I'm colder than the day you met me in the dark. I feel the air around me as it starts to move. I realize I never had that much to lose.
I think that sounds pretty awesome. Now, if we take a look at Ozone here, I have nothing instantiated. I have some reference tracks, not even in Ozone, but I have reference tracks within my Logic project here. And I could open the reference tracks using the reference tab and then isolating and figuring out what tracks I want to use. In this particular case, since I always approach a master with a couple references to help guide my ears, I chose a Florence and the Machine track, a Billie Eilish track, and also a Church's track. So going in quite a few different directions here. But for me, the Florence and the Machine track is, I idolize these mixes from the record, How Big, How Blue, How Beautiful. But the other two are to help kind of guide the way as well. I'm not going to play those, but to start with, let's just take a look at the tonal balance plugin from Ozone. This is a plugin designed to help us identify a general tonal balance that works across most music. So we're going to see these 4 different sections for the low mids, the upper mids, and the highs, and see where this mix falls in within these regions. So the blue section tells us, this is about the ballpark. This is where things generally feel good. Now, take that with a grain of salt, but this is a great way to identify how our mixes, how our masters are translating compared, against an average.
You left me with a heavy heart. I'm colder than the day you met me in the dark. I feel the air around me as it starts to move.
So again, I think Eli did a great job on this track. But to me, I immediately thought that the low end felt a little light. I wanted the low end to be more present, that kick drum, like the claps, even though claps tend to skew a little higher. I just want a little more body to the kit. Everything else I feel is pretty good. There's a couple of things that I want to nip and tuck. I'm starting with the chorus because this tends to be the densest part of a song. And so you got a lot going on. But of course, we would double check across the whole song. And there will be a video that compares both of our masters against each other. Okay. To start with this track here. So we're going to start out with Ozone's mastering assistant. Ozone is going to listen to our track and make some adjustments based on its best guesses based on the incoming material. Now, I found if you use mastering assistant in a very quiet section, a very timid verse, you will get very different results as opposed to a bombastic chorus. So this is something to keep in mind, in my opinion. Now, I'm going to make sure to set the intensity to high because I want it to be, as loud as most major label productions. Set the destination of streaming, CD. I love CDs, but they're not as prominent anymore. Here we go.
You left me with a heavy heart. I'm colder than the day you met me in the dark. I feel the air around me as it starts to move. I realize I never had that much to lose. You left me with a heavy heart. I'm colder than the day you met me.
Okay, so now I'm given the option to accept these changes. Let's take a look at the changes. We know that the EQ has been applied. Dynamics is available to us, but it's not enabled. And okay, so maybe we want some tonal control on the low end. We can see that that is where the compressor has been set on the low end. Some dynamic EQ. So it's nipping and tucking in a dynamic way. And then the maximizer to set us to the level that we need to based on a target of -14 LUFS. Cool. So let's take a listen real quick. Just see how we feel about this. I'm going to gain match and bypass and see what happens.
Left me with a heavy heart. I'm colder than the day you met me in the dark. I feel the air around me as it starts to move. I realize I never had that much to lose.
Okay, I feel that Ozone did a pretty good job here. Out of the gate, I just feel like that low end is still not being represented. And I don't really like this reduction on the high end. I mean, it's very small, -7, but I don't know. I don't really feel it's appropriate for this track. I feel this track has kind of like this thumping dance beat, and I want that sparkly top end. Now, good thing is we have this top end shelf here that's kind of taming anything a little too aggressive up there. But to start with, I want to bring in the vintage tape here. And I just want to fatten up this track. I want it to be just bigger, you know? I don't want to go crazy. So let's just see what happens here. I'm going to play with the harmonics, the low emphasis, the high emphasis. See what happens.
Left me with a heavy heart. I'm colder than the day you met me in the dark. I feel the air around me as it starts to move. I realize I never had that much to lose. You left me with a heavy heart. I'm colder than the day you met me in the dark. I feel the air around me as it starts to move. I realize I never had that much to lose. You left me with a heavy heart. I'm colder than the day you met me in the dark.
So I just want to kind of squash it a little, make it feel fatter. Obviously, dynamics are being squashed a little more. You could maybe take it or leave it. But for me, it's like, yeah, let's fatten this up. Based on my other reference tracks, I noticed like a crispiness and a fatness that I was hearing on those and not this. Okay, so now let's introduce an EQ. And this might seem a little out of order, right? I'm going to put the EQ right before the maximizers. I have the vintage tape after the dynamic EQ, and now another EQ. Okay, whatever. Let's just see what happens here.
You left me with a heavy heart. I'm colder than the day you met me in the dark. I feel the air around me as it starts to move. I realize I never had that much to lose.
What I love about iZotope's Ozone is the resolution of this EQ. You know, you make a big boost and it's only 2 decibels of gain. That is so helpful. It's helpful to kind of like rein us in and not be too aggressive when we're mastering, because that's what it's all about, is small changes that add up into big ways. Okay, let's keep going.
You left me with a heavy heart. I'm colder than the day you met me in the dark. I feel the air around me as it starts to move. I realize I never had that much to lose. You left me with a heavy heart. I'm colder than the day you met me in the dark. I feel the air around me as it starts to move.
So I can hear there's something around the mid-range that I'm not digging on the vocals. And there's 100 ways we can skin this cat, but I'm keeping it simple, just a stereo EQ. But I know something in the mid-range, there's kind of like this like wah to the vocals that I don't like. So let's try and find that.
You left me with a heavy heart. I'm colder than the day you met me in the dark. I feel the air around me as it starts to move. I realize I never had that much to lose. You left me with a heavy heart. I'm colder than the day you met me in the dark. I feel the air around me as it starts to move. I realize I never had that much to lose.
Okay, and I also want the vocals to poke out a little more in this mix. I feel like that they're a little underrepresented. Let's try and find that.
You left me with a heavy heart. I'm colder than the day you met me in the dark. I feel the air around me as it starts to move. I realize I never had that much to lose. You left me with a heavy heart. I'm colder than the day you met me in the dark. I feel the air around me as it starts. I never had that much to lose.
So before and after with my EQ changes here.
You left me with a heavy heart. I'm colder than the day you met me in the dark. I feel the air around me as it starts to move.
And you could see across the board, we're dealing with 0.4. You know, look over here, 0.4, 0.3, Point three, these are such minimal changes, but I think they add up in big ways. Now let's kind of bypass and see what we've done here.
You left me with a heavy heart. I'm colder than the day you met me in the dark. I feel the air around me as it starts to move. I realize I never had.
And if we take a look at the tonal balance here,
You left me with a heavy heart. I'm colder than the day you met me in the dark. I feel the air.
the presentation of the low end is a little bulgier, it's a little more prominent, but I noticed in my test drives of this video that when I pushed it to like 1, it just felt too boomy. Let's just hear it real quick.
You left me with a heavy heart. I'm colder than the day you met me in the dark. I feel the air around me as it starts to move. I realize I never had that much to lose.
See, it feels way better to me with just like a touch of gain in the low end. But again, I think Eli did a fantastic job on this track. I don't feel there's a whole lot to improve upon, just a little nip and tuck. I hope that was helpful for you. Once again, I'm Chris Vandeviver with Logic Pro Expert.